Hi, we're Sabrina DeWicki, Elise Pominville, and Sarah Riley from the Psychology Department here at Westfield State. Today, we'll be talking about a study we conducted on self-reported ADHD symptoms' impact on academic stress and general COVID-19 related stress. So due to the pandemic and the switch to online learning, all students across the globe have been impacted. This switch to online learning has introduced new challenges, such as technology issues, an increase in procrastination, and a lack of social interaction. These challenges, along with the additional academic challenges students with ADHD were facing prior to the pandemic, has made academic stress increase greatly. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, otherwise known as ADHD, is a neurodevelopmental disorder that impacts the hyperactivity, impulsivity, emotion regulation, attention skills, and more of an individual. Research on college students with ADHD is severely lacking, and this is problematic as ADHD is a very common disorder. Research on ADHD in college students is of importance because students with ADHD experience increased academic problems in comparison with students without the disorder. These academic problems include, but are not limited to, impaired organization skills, study skill deficits, fewer coping skills, and the tendency to have a lower GPA. It is unclear just how many students actually have the disorder, as many students have symptoms of ADHD but do not have an official diagnosis. This led us to wonder if, given the global pandemic, do students with symptoms of ADHD experience higher levels of academic stress compared to students without symptoms of ADHD? We are also interested in the impact of self-reported ADHD symptoms on general COVID-19 related stress levels.
To answer this question, we started by recruiting 93 participants. Participants were recruited through email from Westfield State University professors. They completed a consent form and a few self-report surveys. Participants completed the Adult ADHD Self-Report Scale, which we used to group participants into ADHD and non-ADHD categories. Then they completed the Academic Stress Survey, which assessed their perceived level of academic stress. Lastly, participants completed the COVID-19 Student Stress Questionnaire, which assessed stress levels brought on by the pandemic. The data from the Academic Stress Survey and the COVID-19 Student Stress Questionnaire were analyzed using two t-tests, comparing the ADHD and non-ADHD groups. It is important to note all students were self-reporting their symptoms. We have no knowledge if any were actually diagnosed with ADHD. It is also important to note the responses may not have been accurate and may have been exaggerated. Of the 93 participants, 74 students reported ADHD symptoms using the Adult ADHD Self-Report Scale. A total of 13 participants reported no symptoms. Previous research reported approximately 2 to 8% of college students are diagnosed with ADHD. The results obtained here are much higher than expected. When it came to COVID-19 related stress, the participants had similar results regardless of ADHD symptoms. Participants who had ADHD symptoms had substantially higher academic stress levels than those without symptoms. This finding led us to accept our earlier hypothesis.
From these results, we concluded that symptoms of ADHD do not play a role in levels of pandemic-related stress in college students. We were also able to conclude that symptoms of ADHD are associated with higher levels of academic stress in college students. Results from this study will add to the limited research on adults and college students who experience symptoms of ADHD. Our results will also aid in increasing awareness for professors on campus regarding the academic struggles their students are facing. Our research may encourage further exploration of ADHD symptomology in college students to help address the learning experiences of these individuals. Our research may also lead to further studies on academic stress in all students with and without ADHD. We also considered that replication of this study post-pandemic would be beneficial in determining the effects the pandemic itself has had on academic stress levels of students with and without symptoms of ADHD. This would also allow us to examine these variables in a non-pandemic setting. Thank you all so much for watching, and thank you to everyone who helped us along the way. We hope you enjoyed.